warm introduction because it's heavily pouring down here at Chennai, and really it's a warming welcome. And I'm delighted to be here as a resource person for wonderful college SRC. I studied in Trichy Bishop Weber College, and I got my classmates from SRC known for academic excellence. I would say that always, we'll be just 2 steps back from SRC. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the opportunity. And I take a pleasure in thanking the entire team of faculty members from the library and the department, the management, the principal, for having organized such important academic endeavor, I would say that. Okay. So is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Visible,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much. And today and tomorrow we are going to have sessions. So there is no hurry in completing the syllabus, because I'm going to start with the breaking free from academic scams 1.0. And tomorrow we will have like the breaking free from academic scams 2.0. So 2 sessions continuously, and we'll just continue our learning in choosing the selection and in the world of scams, right? Okay, so before forget everything, like gratitude is the good attitude. And once again, I thank the college principal, the management, the IQAC, and the Department of Hospital Administration, and the library and the librarians, women, and so on, for having me here. And I thank Madras Christian College, one of the top colleges in India, and being one of the top colleges in NIRF as far as ranking is concerned, and consistently ranking in the top 10 in the week, India Today, and other magazines. And I thank my college for having me here in the Department of Chemistry since 2016. And it's a wonderful campus, and I welcome you all to explore Madras Christian College. Thank you. Now, moving on to the business and the research work. If you think about the research work, everything will start with the research idea, right? The idea can come from anywhere. Probably like when you just move into the market and you can witness something and then said, okay, it can be a good research problem. Or you can just, reading the research literature, and then you find that, oh, this is a nice research gap that we can think of. So finally, if you get the idea, immediately you will plan to think about the experiment. If you are from the experimental science, let's say physics, chemistry, botany, zoology, microbiology, and so on, then immediately you will be thinking that, oh, how can I set up the experiment in the laboratory? And if you are from the domain like library and information science, economics, commerce, and computer science, and other arts, each one will have your own way of dealing the research problem. Probably for you, field work will be the laboratory, or collecting the data, quantitative, qualitative analysis, or mixed method, conducting an interview, survey, preparing the questions, and so on, right? And you will be digging the data from different databases, and you can work on. Probably we will be doing some analysis, and at the end, everybody, whether you are from arts or science, you will be coming up with something like in numbers represented by graphs, flowcharts, tables, and so on. And once that is there, right, and we will be looking at the numbers with the magnifying glass, and we will try to derive some insights, trends. Okay, so what this graph tells, what these numbers are speaking, whether it is just bringing out some of the answers to my questions that I, start to look into. So once that is done, we will start writing the manuscript. And of course, if you have completed your PhD, or if you are in the process of getting correction from your guide, your manuscript will be subjected to multiple correction, addition, deletion, and then, a lot of changes would have happened with the help of your guide. And finally, if you have a draft, which is beautifully ready, and now the draft or the manuscript lies in your hand, and the fate of the manuscript is, guess where you want to submit. The journal that you are just picking. So the entire hard work for about 3 to 8 months or a year or a couple of years finally ends up with where you want to submit. So you need to give much importance to journal submission. That is what the day 2 is today. Okay, where you should not submit. That is what I'm going to talk about, because a small idea, it is carefully crafted, and now you did some experiment, and then probably like your research scholars would have worked, they spent their energy, time, and of course money involved, and all these things at the end. Now the beautiful manuscript is ready, and now how do you say that the fate of the manuscript is lying in the journal selection? So this is very, very important, right? With that understanding, let us just look at this particular piece of code. I love this code because the science does not exist until it is published. Although there are theses by definition, or the work, or MPhil thesis, or MSc, MCom, MA dissertations, it is a scientific work. And if it is just all the scientific works are compiled, and all the bounded volumes, if they are sending if they are sending back to the library, and if they are sleeping eternally, then we cannot consider that as published. If you are not published, people are telling, as per this code, you are not doing science at all. Okay, if suppose you said I know Python script, then immediately you will be asking, do you have a certification? So you want evidence, right? So if you are telling that I am an expert in this field, if you don't have a publication, I cannot accept that you are an expert. So publication is very, very important, right? Okay. Now, usually we faculty members are reluctant to ask questions. So I collected some of the questions, and then I want to put it here so that I'll just give answers for these questions. Of course, we have a Q&A session at the end. I'll try to give answers to your most of the questions. What are UGC CAT journals, and why some journals are suddenly appearing and disappearing from the list? I published a paper in UGC CAT journal when it was there, and now it is removed. Then what happened to my work? And whether to give preference to impact factor. Somebody is telling that the crazy number like 5.5, 6.5, somebody 17, 20. I'm just literally confused. Do I need to give much weightage to impact factor? Name of the journal. I published in an international journal. Is that the one that we are looking for? And so many impact factors, I'm really looking to find out which one is reliable. And is there any relationship between impact factor and citation? And that the question in the red color is the most sought after in the academic arena. That's how much one should pay to publish a Scopus journal. I hope if just, if I ask this question, how many of you would like to have a Scopus journal, and then I can get most of the people will give the thumbs up to me, right? Okay, how to identify fake journals? And people have started talking about clone journals. What do you mean by clone journals? We'll probably sit and, learn these things. Okay, and in addition to that, much more. Okay, whenever you just come up with the question, please put it in the chat box, and probably at the end of the session, I can take up all those questions. Okay. I have just given the outline in this way, starting with the UGC CAT journals, databases, of course, with the live demonstration, how to do that, and types of publication, and open access, and do you want to pay? If you want to pay, how much is okay? And the predatory journals, how to identify them, and clone journals, and some suggestions from my end, and how to be safeguard our research work from the cyber criminals who are just exploiting the publication model and getting money and cheating us. Okay, so this is like for the 2 days content I have summarized, and we'll be just going one by one. Okay, and some of the terms that are just very popular among the academic faculty. The more one is peer reviewed. Sir, my journal is a peer reviewed journal, and it is indexed in UGC CAT. International journal, sir, my journal is an international journal. You see that international journal of this, and we really need to know whether the international journals are truly international. And it says, sir, it's an index journal. Sir, it's an index journal. Sir, it's a Scopus journal. We really need to know. And for all these confusion, the first one is peer reviewed, right? In my view, the peer reviewed, the word is an overused word and over abused word, right? Because we really need to know what is peer. Okay, now the word tells that peer and the reviewed. Whenever you submit your manuscript to a journal, every journal in the home page, invariably they will be using that this journal of so and so is a open access and peer reviewed. Am I right? You witness, right? Now we really need to know what is peer review. Peer means like peers. Like if I'm a faculty and who was working with me as a colleague, or peers, right? From this institution or that other institutions and so on. So peers are reviewing our work. Okay. So when you submit your manuscript to a journal, what happens to that? Okay. Let us look at the steps one by one. And I didn't come up with these steps. These steps are given by the premier publishing industry called Wiley. Okay. When you submit the paper, you just look at the first step is when you submit the paper, the first thing is like we will submit the paper in the journal portal, and we will receive an email that your paper is submitted. And once that is done, the editorial office assessment will be done. What do you mean by editorial office assessment? Whether your paper is in the order, whether your paper is in the format of the journal. What is the font? What is the size? How many number of figures? How many number of tables? Whether the references are in APA or MLA style or Chicago 6th edition style and so on. Whether that is there in that format, and they will never ever talk about your content. They'll say that whether you have given your acknowledgement correctly, whether you have given your data correctly, table is formulated, and all the units are correct, and all these things. It's called technical check. The editorial office assessment. Probably a person with a degree holder will check that, right? In that way, we can say it's an office assessment. Once that is done, and it will be given to the editor-in-chief. Editor-in-chief, suppose I am running a journal in economics. Economics may have a different verticals, right? Different sub domains. If I'm from chemistry, if you say I'm a professor of chemistry, but my field of interest is computational chemistry, that is different. I do not have comment on inorganic chemistry or organic chemistry like that. The editor-in-chief is the professor who handles everything, and he will be looking at the title of the paper and the content and the domain. He will be sending that to an associate editor. So a journal may have 10 to 15 associate editors, depends upon the different dimensions of the particular field. Once the associate editor looks into the content and the editor feels that, oh, this content is really good, then the editor will send your paper to reviewers. Before that, they will just call for the reviewers, which means potential reviewers. They will have it in their database, and based on your paper, the expertise will be matched. Now, most probably AA is doing all these things, and the associate editor will call for the reviewer. Hi reviewer, is there any? Are you ready to, or are you willing to review this particular manuscript? Okay, and once that, okay, if I say that, okay, I'm not interested in reviewing this because this falls outside the scope, I can tell. Or I say that, yes, I'm happy to review this. Yes, if once I said yes, then they will send the entire manuscript to us. Whatever you have submitted, we will be reviewing. Okay, so being a reviewer for more than 50 journals across Sage, Wiley, Taylor & Francis, Elsevier, and so on. So I can vouch for the quality of the review. And once that is given, they will be giving 15 days minimum to 2 months time for us to read and give a critical review. Once review is conducted, then we will submit our feedback. Feedback in the sense reviewer report. There are many questions, whether the objective is clear, whether the work is done in a proper way, whether all the contents are correct, the discussions are correct. There are so many questions we have to answer. In addition to that, we will give the comments, and then we will rate your manuscript. The manuscript is 70% okay, or 80% okay, or 30% okay, or it is not at all fit. We will give our comments, and journal evaluates the review. Now, it is not like only one person it will get the review. They will just send the manuscript to 2-3 people, so that they will get minimum 2, maximum 5, 6. There are journals which are good impact factor journals which demand 4 reviewers, 5 reviewers. And once all the reviews are there, then the editor will see that, okay, I have all the reviews now ready. I will read all the reviews, and then I can just say that whether this manuscript is right, whether the manuscript can be accepted in the current form, or the manuscript can be sent back to the authors for following corrections. So we call that as a revision. We can say major revision and minor revision. Or, oh, this journal, this paper has got a lot of comments, criticism, and so on, and no way the authors can, improve their work, so we'll reject the paper. So there are possibilities that are accepted as it is, or major revision, or minor revision, are rejected, and now they are saying, okay, I reject your paper. You address all those comments and submit as a fresh submission. This is called reject and resubmit. So the associate editor can take a call on that. And once that is done, the decision will be communicated to the author. If it is accepted, or if it is a major revision, minor revision, we will again do that. And finally, the paper will be accepted. You look at that, this is the process that is there in the peer review. Once the article is submitted, it will be assessed by the editor, and the editor can reject that itself, rejected, or they can just send to the reviewers, and the reviewer will give a comment, and that they will say that, okay, the reviewers sent the comment, reviews assessed by the editor. Then they say that, okay, revision is secured, sending back to the authors. Authors will work and send back to the editor. Then they will again send to the reviewer. Reviewers are happy, okay. And if they are not happy, they will say that rejected. And if they said yes, this is fine, then accepted, then it will go for production and publication. If your manuscript does not go to these process, then it is not a peer-reviewed journal, or peer review process is not done. So usually this will take. So now you say that, sir, you are telling that so many procedures, but papers are being accepted in a hurry. I submitted a paper, and within 3 days they said it's accepted, and it's a very good journal. You can say that, right? But you have to be very careful about all these things. If the paper is accepted within 3 days, within 1 week, within 10 days, within 15 days, within 1 month, within 2 months, within 3 months, you have to be very careful. Are 80% okay, or 30% okay, or it is not at all fit. We will give our comments, and journal evaluates the review. Now, it is not like only one person it will get the review. They will just send the manuscript to 2-3 people, so that they will get minimum 2, maximum 5, 6. There are journals which are good impact factor journals which demand 4 reviewers, 5 reviewers. And once all the reviews are there, then the editor will see that, okay, I have all the reviews now ready. I will read all the reviews, and then I can just say that whether this manuscript is right, whether the manuscript can be accepted in the current form, or the manuscript can be sent back to the authors for following corrections. So we call that as a revision. We can say major revision and minor revision. Or, oh, this journal, this paper has got a lot of comments, criticism, and so on, and no way the authors can, improve their work, so we'll reject the paper. So there are possibilities that are accepted as it is, or major revision, or minor revision, are rejected, and now they are saying, okay, I reject your paper. You address all those comments and submit as a fresh submission. This is called reject and resubmit. So editor can take, the associate editor can take a call on that. And once that is done, the decision will be communicated to the author. If it is accepted, or if it is a major revision, minor revision, we will again do that. And finally, the paper will be accepted. You look at that, this is the process that is there in the peer review. Once the article is submitted, it will be assessed by the editor, and the editor can reject that itself, rejected, or they can just send to the reviewers, and the reviewer will give a comment, and that they will say that, okay, the reviewers sent the comment, reviews assessed by the editor. Then they say that, okay, revision is secured, sending back to the authors. Authors will work and send back to the editor. Then they will again send to the reviewer. Reviewers are happy, okay. And if they are not happy, they will say that rejected. And if they said yes, this is fine, then accepted, then it will go for production and publication. If your manuscript does not go to these process, then it is not a peer-reviewed journal, or peer review process is not done. So usually this will take. So now you say that, sir, you are telling that so many procedures, but papers are being accepted in a hurry. I submitted a paper, and within 3 days they said it's accepted, and it's a very good journal. You can say that, right? But you have to be very careful about all these things. If the paper is accepted within 3 days, within 1 week, within 10 days, within 15 days, within 1 month, within 2 months, within 3 months, you have to be very careful. Then you say, sir, the 2 months paper is accepted, it's a fake. No, you have to be very careful. I'll tell you the examples in the conversation. But you need to know about the peer review process correctly, because this has not been featured in any of the research methodology syllabus. I don't know whether you have a research methodology for PG students, and we do here in Chennai. Most of the colleges are having that, and it was not there. Now we have included it. What is peer review? We need to know about all these things. Otherwise, this is the first step where faculty members are fooled by the fake journals. Okay. Now, this is one example that I'm showing that is from my personal experience. I submitted one paper, and that is like, 6th October 2023, it was with the editor, and the editor took 11 days and then decided that, okay, your paper is having some merit, so I will send it for the review. And